It's time for another road trip camping adventure. We packed up the bedrock, hit the road, and headed west. We're here in the Porcupine Mountains for some camping, hiking, and brook trout fishing. 9 million acres of forest, 1,700 miles of continuous shoreline, 4,300 lakes, 12,000 miles of streams, more than 300 waterfalls, 15 counties, 2 time zones, and 1 area code. Welcome to the Upper Peninsula. Welcome to 906 Outdoors. Well, the high waters of spring have receded and the streams are low enough that dropping a worm in for a brook trout has become feasible. I decided to head for the Porkies. I've been wanting to hike into the Upper Carp River to see if I could find some brookies for quite some time. Specifically the stretch from Trap Falls down to backcountry campsites GP1 and 2. We decided to make a weekend out of it, so we headed out Friday and set up camp at Union Bay Campground. And since it was Friday, we figured a good way to start the trip was with a Friday afternoon fish fry. Actually, our Friday afternoon fish fry turned into a Friday night fish fry. Turns out we made a quick stop for some on-the-road lunch at Smokeless Barbecue in Iron Mountain. The pulled pork was delicious and very, very filling. The brisket was excellent too. And the ribs, coleslaw, fries, you get the picture. I don't think you can ever get full enough to pass up a plate full of freshly caught, freshly cooked bluegills. Today's show is brought to you in part by Rapid River Knife Works, home of Michigan's largest custom knife factory showroom.
Rapid River Knife Works is the largest custom knife factory showroom in Michigan. The 10,000 square foot showroom is awesome. Hunting knives, pocket knives, and kitchen knives. Watch your custom knife being made and engraved. Free laser engraving with your personal message or company logo. Lifetime warranty on every knife and free sharpening. Plus, visit Rapid River Knife Works gift shop for Stormy Cromer and RRK gear. Bring the family and visit Rapid River Knife Works today.
Not at all a bad way to start the day. The sun was up and so was I, overflowing with anticipation of the day ahead. To tell you the truth, I'm not very accustomed to campgrounds with the luxury of electricity. And let's face it, There's not much to plug in a 1963 Yellowstone, but I am indeed equipped to take full advantage if such a situation should present itself. Breakfast was followed by a short drive to the trailhead. The plan was to take the Government Peak Trail south to just above Trap Falls and fish my way back downstream to backcountry campsite GP1 where the river veers away from the trail. From there I'd head back out, hopefully with enough trout for dinner back at the campsite. The hike in was as scenic as I had hoped and come to expect. The Porkies are home to more than 90 miles of hiking trails that pass through the various parts of the park's 60,000 scenic acres. Most connect to some other trail, which connects to another and another. The opportunities to hike in the park are endless.
There's tons of day hiking opportunities here, yeah, depending on how far you want to go. There's some great, 12-mile loops that you can do, and other people just, maybe they'll tackle some of the longer linear trails. Maybe they'll walk 5 miles down, turn around and walk 5 miles back.
I wasn't hiking for the joy of hiking. I was hiking to fish. There is one spot along the way where the upper carp crosses the Government Peak Trail. A spot where, with a little willpower, I'd pass right by in an effort to stick to my plan. Nope. Nothing here but chubs.
Some of the premier hiking are the trail along Lake of the Clouds area, the Escarpment Trail, and then also on the other side would be the Big Carp River Trail. Some of those, the views up there are just phenomenal. We constantly hear from visitors that they just didn't realize there was anything like this in the Midwest.
Trap Falls. Now that is hard to pass by. I went just a bit further upstream and my day of fishing began. I'd already concluded that the fishing on this river was excellent. The scenery alone was over the top. A trout fisherman's dream. Never-ending drops and small waterfalls. An irresistible pool at the end of every one of them, each with a hungry, waiting trout. I came to that conclusion long before my worm got wet. It didn't take long and I was on my way to a much anticipated Brookie dinner. 906 Outdoors is brought to you by Race Driven, your source for premier power sports products. Customer driven, quality driven, race driven.
Get in touch with your adventurous side and find your drive with Race Driven. As an online retailer, dealership, and manufacturer, we can provide power sport enthusiasts with virtually any part or accessories for ATV, UTV, and motorcycles. Providing a variety of services including manufacturing, prototyping, and powder coating, Race Driven gets it all done right in Escanaba. Our highly experienced team will find you the best products to maximize your performance and keep you safe. Customer driven, quality driven, race driven.
Then there's Trap Falls. If that's not just picture perfect, I don't know what is. I could stay here all day in this one spot and just fish. Or not fish. Just sit here. Doesn't get much better than this. Tonight's dinner.
There's a lot of different fishing opportunities in the park. There's lots of trout streams in the park that's all got a lot of the native brook trout in them. We've got several rivers in the park that get salmon or steelhead runs in them in the spring and or fall. And plus, a lot of people in the park will fish offshore, you know, just fish the big water, Lake Superior, the shore of Lake Superior from the rocky shores and catch anything from lake trout to steelhead. And, oh, I'm sure some people probably catch some whitefish and various other fish, coho. A lot of fishing opportunity here.
A lot of fishing opportunities indeed, and I plan to take advantage of more of them. But not today. Today I'm right here in the Upper Carp River and thinking of nowhere else. Well, there's dinner for Patty. My plan was to fish from above Trap Falls to campsite GP1. I actually probably fished only half of that. Next time I'll have to spend a couple of days out here and do some backcountry camping. There's so many perfect spots to drop a worm or a spinner. So much to see and take in. It'd be pretty hard to get yourself to hurry on this stretch of river. There are certainly other places that are easier to get to, but probably not many is hard to leave. It was time to put away the rod, zip up the backpack, and leave the river behind. Time to head back to the campsite for a little relaxation, something cold to drink, and of course, dinner. The hike in was a steady, relatively fast pace to get to my destination and get started. The hike out was more of a casual walk. I'm not sure if it was because I had time or it just felt right. Either way, the in and out were a great part of the fishing. Friday to Sunday. It's amazing the impact a few days here can have. While I was here, I forgot about all of the things I have to do back home. But when I'm back home, I won't forget about the things I did while I was here. The camping, of course the fishing, watching the sun rise over Lake Superior, and the amazing scenery. If the Porcupine Mountain State Park is not on your to-do list, you might want to consider adding it. You don't have to be a hiker, backcountry camper, a fisherman. You just have to enjoy the outdoors. The Porkies somehow cause you to slow down, to take the time to notice the things around you, things you might not notice without stopping to look. Simple things seem to take on a greater importance here, and mean something different than they mean elsewhere. "60,000 acres of virgin timber, secluded lakes, winding streams, miles of hiking possibilities, campsites of all kinds, cabins from one end of the spectrum to the other, and scenery that amazes me on every visit I make. The Porkies are one of the many unique and special things we are fortunate enough to be surrounded by here in the Upper Peninsula." "906 Outdoors" is brought to you by Cooking Wild Seasonings. Make it fresh, make it yours. Good. Better. Best. Try our new Cooking Wild Seasonings breakfast sausage seasoning or maple breakfast sausage seasoning made with pure UP maple sugar. Whether you're up for an afternoon walk or a cross UP trek, the North Country Trail will not disappoint. The Upper Peninsula portion of the trail enters the UP at the Mackinac Bridge and exits near Ironwood, passing through old-growth forests, rugged hills, and Lake Superior shoreline. It offers some of the most remote, uninhabited country found in the entire trail system.
Currently, the North Country Trail at 4,700 miles is the longest of the scenic trails in the United States. You know, people talk about the Appalachian Trail, the AT, they talk about the Pacific Rim, they talk about the Continental Divide Trail. This is the longest trail, but it's also fascinating in that, you know, you think, where does it go through, like Ohio? And how can you go through Dayton, Ohio, and say you've got a magnificent trail? The community of Dayton has an absolutely spectacular trail. They've rebuilt a lot of trail, and it's a very, very different experience. And so you get both the woods and you get, you know, the residents. Here in the Upper Peninsula, where I'm most concerned with, we have most of our trail, you can't even use a cell phone. There are many, many groups that maintain sections of the trail. We have partner groups who are either hiking chapters or hiking groups. And we all get together to maintain and build this trail and keep it a pristine area. We break our group up into chapters. Ours is the Superior Shoreline chapter. To the west, we have the North Country Trail hikers, and then there's 2 chapters beyond it. To the east, we have the Hiawatha Shore to Shore. You go onto their websites, they all endeavor to have a lot of descriptions about what you will find along our respective trail sections, including descriptions of not only the trail tread, where you have to cross a road or walk a road, but whether it's wet, whether it's hilly, whether you have an area that is different. We can't put a lot of blazes up because of regulations, but all of that's going to be there. Maps are on our website so people can see those. And this is not only just for the Upper Peninsula, but this is for all 4,700 miles of the trail. Our trail also is almost exclusively foot traffic. We don't have horses, don't have bikes, we don't have ATVs. To keep it simple, keep it beautiful, keep it quiet, we have both federal land, we have state land, we have private land that is traversed by the trail. When you get to the areas in Pictured Rocks sees about 11,000 hikers a year. When you get there, you've got a different trail. And you do have a lot of rocky areas. You have areas where the great vistas onto Lake Superior. It's truly gorgeous. The vistas are second to none as far as looking out very, very high above Lake Superior in most places. And so consequently, you've got great vistas you can see. The trail's in a constant state of development, and it takes a lot of manpower to maintain it, especially because things grow so quickly. Ultimately, it's, our goal is to have the absolute premier hiking experience in North America. Is what we try to do is to get people to adopt sections of trail, or somebody's got a camp and the trail's nearby. Well, maybe we want to adopt a half a mile either way from their camp. We are under the auspices of the National Park Service. We are all volunteers for them. In fact, our entire organization for 4,700 miles only has 9 full-time and part-time employees. Everybody else is volunteer. But our trail is a linear trail, which means it goes from, not necessarily in a straight line, but it doesn't circle back, which says, okay, if you're going to hike a section of trail, you got to think about how you're going to get to the beginning and get to the end, and back to the end. Where's your vehicle? Are you going to be up to hiking in and out? And camping along the trail, people can camp anywhere along the trail. If you're by a state park, there are rules about how far you can camp. You have to be away to camp there, but that really doesn't happen that often because there's not that many of them. Along the North Country Trail, as we are here in the forest area, the Forest Service property, you can camp anywhere along here. And there are some camps that are set up in various chapter sections, and our organization breaks up the trail in chapters. Our chapter has totally about 120 miles. Each chapter has about that that you maintain or are responsible for maintaining. Some of them have camps on them, some don't. What would you like to find? You can find it. It's in one place or the other. Be it in the Upper Peninsula, you can find that. If you want to go through marshes, there are marshes to go through. Some of the others you walk, but we try to tell people, think about this in terms of 1 mile in a half an hour. That you'll be able to do that, you can schedule it that way, and it makes it a little bit more enjoyable. Try to figure out where your roads are in advance if you're hiking an area, because you've got to know where to park a car, and if you're going to have to walk back on the trail to do that. Also, let somebody know. It's all interesting. You keep finding different things. I can walk a trail a dozen times. This particular segment I've probably been on 150 or 200 times, and yet I'm always seeing something different, or maybe hearing something different. And again, it's something that very few people really get here and see and enjoy this as much as they should.